Hey there, YouTube. Hi. How are you doing today on today's nice day? Yes. Today we will be reacting to Amnesia, the Dark Descent review by MandaloreGaming. Yeah, let's get some more Mandalore. Amnesia is a great game. Everyone should play it. You should definitely go play it yourself. But yeah. Without further ado, let's get into the video reaction. But then, let us get into the video. I will put my tail down this time. So. It's always scary, as I can say. I'm captured by Valkyrie.
Fresh off the Penumbra series, Friction released Amnesia: The Dark Descent. And
Great
let's
game.
face it, you know what this game is. Your dog probably knows what this
I
game
don't have
is.
a dog.
And that's because this is the game that arguably made YouTube Let's Plays explode into the mainstream.
Yeah, definitely. I used to watch PewDiePie's Let's Play of it, and even the custom maps. Also, my dog doesn't know anything. I don't have a dog. I have cats. 2 of them.
A strange and magical time where your dad could forward you the Milky Ways clip.
Milky Ways?
Shit, I have a bag of Milky Way.
Oh!
It kickstarted an entire horror genre away
Okay.
from action, spawned countless imitators, and still gets the occasional update. Not to
Doesn't
mention all the
remember
custom
imitators.
stories or mods like Penumbra Necrolog. Its influence isn't
Okay.
going away anytime soon, and with good reason. So, break out your finest webcam reaction face, and let's talk about the game.
What have I done? This is crazy.
What have you done?
Forget.
Oh yeah,
Don't forget.
I know what you did.
I must stop him. Focus.
I know what you
My
did.
name is I am Daniel.
And Daniel's in for some classic German hospitality.
Yeah.
It's 1839, and Daniel has woken up in Brennenburg Castle, a mysterious fortress located somewhere in Prussia, and likely built as one of the Holy Roman Empire's many tollbooth castles.
Honestly, those castles are really nice if you look at them. Or if you were in one of them. I don't think I ever was in castle. Maybe I was, but I don't remember. But yeah, it looks nice.
Daniel has no memory of how he got here or what he was doing here at all. Though after summoning
Lying
to
on the
castle's
floor.
foyer and witnessing a few Scooby-Doo episodes worth of supernatural events, he finally gets some
Scooby-Doo.
answers, discovering a letter from himself. He has purposefully taken an amnesia potion.
Daniel's note to
Daniel
self.
needs future Daniel to go to the castle's inner sanctum and kill its Lord Alexander. Also,
Okay.
they're being pursued by a reality-shattering, unknowable force. Hugs and
Oh yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog. I remember I did stream the game and I finished it like I think 2 years ago. I always kept going that Shadow the Hedgehog. Now I feel like I want to play it again in October, in this Booktober.
kisses
I may play
the
it.
former Daniel.
Stream
So
it
it's a
again.
long crawl through a haunted castle, discovering its secrets, the fragments of your past, and all while keeping one step ahead of the nightmare shadow pursuing you,
Shadow the
and
Hedgehog.
Alexander's renowned guest services committee. Now, unlike
Oh yeah, the guest committee is always nice and hospitable. They are always nice and hospitable. Also, sorry if I will be pausing a lot. You know.
Penumbra, which had 3 difficulty options,
I
Amnesia
never
only
played
launched with 1,
Penumbra.
but a few years later, they added a hard mode.
I know let me go a little bit back so I don't, start in the middle of his word. But yeah, I never played Penumbra, so I don't even know how that plays. And I never played hard mode for Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I still remember when I used to play the old demo. I was so scared of it as a kid. Well, 12-year-old, 13-year-old. Why cannot I speak? I'm sorry if my speak is bad. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, I remember being scared of the game, but I never finished the hard mode.
This is a significant shakeup to how you play, but I did beat both for this video. You
Oh,
definitely
really?
shouldn't make hard mode your first run,
Damn.
but I'll talk more about all that later on.
Pro gamer.
So as you'd expect from the title, visually, Amnesia is a gloomy, moody game.
Nice
and
game.
yeah, the levels of darkness actually can hit about pitch black at points.
Yep.
This ties into a big mechanical change that's been made since Penumbra, since there, if you were still long enough, you got some night vision.
Oh, nice.
Amnesia is perfectly fine throwing you into the abyss, and again,
Yeah.
hard mode will be a perfect example of that. See, visually, most horror games don't get this fucking black. Because
Oh.
they do want players to be scared, but,
That's
also
a lot
able
of
to see
black.
what they're doing. Because before this, the biggest mainstream game to have oppressive darkness at its core was Doom 3. There were
What
plenty
was
of
that
sections
game?
where you had to rapidly shift between using a flashlight and using
Doom
a gun,
3.
because otherwise, you actually could not see.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with this. With Doom 3, you couldn't see shit. I agree with that. I finished that game once. It was so annoying, always changing from flashlight to pistol, pistol to flashlight. You getting attacked by aims and you cannot do anything because, oh hey, you're holding a flashlight, let me change it to my pistol. But you cannot see the aims unless they attack you. It was such a pain.
And this approach came with a lot of baggage already due to being a Doom sequel, to the point that the re-release gave you a standard FPS flashlight,
really?
which does ruin what it was going for. My point is, Doom 3 and 50 Cent Blood on the Sand weren't the levels we're hitting here. Your only tools are a lantern that you have to refill with oil and watch its capacity carefully, and finding tinderboxes, which you can use to light up sources in the environment and stave off the darkness. Now the obvious penalty is without light, you're fumbling around the darkness, can't progress or find items easily, and might bump into something nasty. Which is a lot of potential frustration they're okay with the player having. Even Doom 3's flashlight was unlimited, you just had to switch over to it. That's because the plan here is that if you are in the absolute darkness scenario, you should be overflowing with tension.
I was always.
And that's where the sanity mechanic comes in to give it that extra kick over the edge. When Daniel witnesses something supernatural or unsettling, if he sees a monster and continues to stare at it, or...
Well, maybe don't stare at the monster's ass. That's one way to not lose sanity. Don't stare at its ass.
Is simply sitting in darkness, sanity will start going down. Sanity has all kinds of visual effects, and really, Amnesia itself is kind of a post-processing lasagna. YouTube already struggles with darker games due to compression, and even if you aren't losing your mind, Amnesia has a lot of effects which won't help anything on that front. So if you want the authentic I'm about to faint vision experience, you'll have to play the game. Anyhow, becoming more insane warps and shifts your vision. You get lots of strange effects and filters, and even the game world itself can change. You can hallucinate frightening events right down to monsters suddenly appearing and vanishing. You'll find more disturbing scenes in the castle, and the mundane can become twisted. Call of Cthulhu has a long shadow, and Amnesia has a lot of neat sanity effects. When it gets bad enough, it adds a kind of floaty input lag effect to all of your controls. Like your vision is tunneling and you're on the verge of passing out, which you will when it hits 0. You can't move for a bit.
That was annoying.
But even before that, you're warned that your sanity getting too low or looking at enemies too long will make it easier for them to spot you. So instead of going, at least the darkness is hiding me, the game has said it's making you more vulnerable, and it will just keep getting worse. And as the screen is warping around and you're hearing stranger things, you definitely believe it. You can't stare down the monsters all day anymore because just looking at them gives them power. They'll make you crazy, and being crazy makes you dead.
Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room, a rubber room, with rats. And rats make me crazy.
You only regain sanity by hanging out in the light or accomplishing tasks. They get more literal with it sometimes, but it's an amazing way to keep up the idea of don't let them see the monster.
Or you could use vials of something. I forgot how is it called. But yeah, it can restore your health or sanity. I forgot what is it called though.
You can hide in the dark, but not in a way where observing gives you an advantage. You only want to take occasional glances at the bad man to not hit your sanity too much. In between that and all the distortion effects, you don't have a solid look at what's actually hunting you. Only glimpses of some shambling creature.
Yeah, so basically don't stare at its ass, even though it may look a little bit juicy at some point.
The game mechanically benefits you from looking away from its threats, and that helps build up tension. And sure, one of their designs is very famous now, which is what makes it all the more impressive. Their base designs are already great as twisted human forms, but it's still one of those games where knowing the monster doesn't make it much less scary. Well, except if you look at some of their old concept art.
Really?
As for the environment...
Also, honestly, let me just say, I felt more scared by Amnesia with the Dark Descent more than I was scared in Rebirth. But there was other Amnesia game that really scared me a lot, and that was Bunker. I never finished Bunker. So yeah, that game did scare me a lot.
Itself, Brennenburg is a fantastic haunted castle. It can be cramped and claustrophobic, but equally ornate and regal at points.
It looks
shields
interesting.
It's clearly the castle of a Prussian lord, but sometimes that influence melts away to something more strange and ancient. Even the proportions of rooms, some are unnaturally large and empty, others have bizarre decor or are being used for strange purposes.
Shovel.
Parts of the castle that were made to be cozy and accommodating in their prime still feel unnatural. And the glimpses you can take outside are just buried in fog and isolation. The castle has precious few areas that actually feel safe, and even these have something otherworldly about them.
Oh yeah, this thing. It always confuses me. What is this supposed to be? I still have no idea till this day. But yeah, that atmosphere can give you big heebie-jeebies.
I appreciate it because obviously it's a creepy castle on its own, but the more you really investigate some rooms, the more uncanny things you're going to notice. And I'm not saying Amnesia's horror is subtle. The moment you start the game, you get hit by a Category 5 ghost hurricane. It's good at sprinkling details you might not notice at first, or get packed into the back of your brain beyond the obvious.
Oh, hey.
It's a visually atmospheric game, but one of those that's pushed to the next level by the sound design. From the moment you enter Brennenburg, Amnesia is piling you with it. It's like something horrible is happening in the castle every single moment if you're listening carefully enough. Not that it's true, but even the quiet moments have so much layered into the soundscape.
Yeah.
The wind through the halls, wooden creaking, the hum of some distant machine, and every so often, a sound that tells you the shadow is still in pursuit of you. Even when the game is not actively trying to scare you, every bit of the sound is building intrigue and tension.
Oh yeah, this, and then when the music hit, that is spooky. And when the music hits, when the monster sees you, oh boy, it does. The atmosphere of that. Always was okay. Oh, I'm really feeling like I want to play in this game again.
And when the sound is trying to scare you, Jesus Christ, they're good at it.
Yeah.
I think Amnesia's sound design is the absolute heart of what makes it so scary for people. Just playing the game, the ambient effects are great, but mainly quiet. When there's music, it's slow and suspenseful, and mainly blending into the background sounds. Music only comes to the front when it's telling you more about the story, you're in danger, or you've escaped danger.
But
the most memorable tracks in the game come after you've barely escaped with your life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the tranquil. Yeah, gentle humming.
The calming music and release from Amnesia's usually oppressive sound design is your reward.
Triumphant, hopeful music. Yeah, I always
the sound and music is always building up, and it either lands here or it goes to the chase.
Please chase. Give me the chase music.
Areas, they amp up the sound in variety, but not in volume. There's more random scraping, or maybe a footstep, or a sound you can't quite recognize. Then they'll mix in some more prominent, scarier sounds.
Please give us the chase music.
It's not a loud bang to make you jump. It doesn't have to be, and they don't want that. The truth is, cheap jump scares are bad for two reasons. The first being, it's not lasting horror.
Oh yeah.
If I drowned out all the sound and play a big... all I did was trigger the part of your caveman brain that says, watch out for tigers. And then you know there's no danger. It also means all the tension you built up to that point is just gone. That wasn't Freddy Fazbear, it's just my fucking cat or whatever.
What the
all
hell?
that stress you're building up internally gets released. Do you want your audience to feel that when a plank has fallen over, or when the monster is revealed? Amnesia is so effective because of its restraint in this area. It takes a long while in the game until you even glimpse a monster, and because you're likely playing so carefully and quietly, even longer until you're chased by something. Even Penumbra didn't wait this long before showing its hand. And coming back to play Amnesia, I thought my heart rate wouldn't go above resting because I'm familiar enough with it. But they're so damn good at how they pace their scares that it still got me at a few points.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I played through the tutorial or through the demo lots of time, but it still scared me. Like, they like build up the atmosphere and stuff so greatly that it will scare you even though you know about the scares. It will still scare you. So what the hell is happening? Give me a second. Okay, that was something. What search bar?
Instead of wasting it on a cheaper scare, they still tickle the tiger part of your brain, but the one that says, the tiger is in pursuit.
Yeah.
Because Amnesia has few enemy types, which you barely see clearly, then you hear their warning cry cut through everything.
Oh, hey!
It's clear, it's strange, and then they see you.
Come on. Oh, this music. Every time I heard it was, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. It's this one
The
even.
truth is,
I see.
that fucking siren is the real monster. After quiet, dread-inducing exploration, hearing that violent siren spin up is incredibly alarming. And I want to emphasize it spins up, and it'll
Oh.
wind down when the monster loses sight of you. Even this isn't a sudden loud sound, it has a build-up to it.
Yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
monsters
Yeah.
and the sounds are borrowing some pages from Silent Hill, but it's so simple and so effective. I know what the monsters
Storage.
look like, I know what the trick is, but even now, on a fresh playthrough, being chased by the monster those first few times still makes me feel a way that few horror games do.
Scared. Oh yeah. Then they started breaking the door.
They save
Well,
their most intense sounds for when they'll be the most effective. It's just that easy. As for the voice acting, it's a small cast, but excellent. The writing itself conveys that Daniel is curious and a bit naive, but his delivery is so polite and gentle that it fills in the blanks that outside of the events of this game, he's likely a good person. You get audio flashbacks where he comes across as a decent person and over his head. Meanwhile, Alexander sounds like Dracula at
Yeah.
a social event. He's refined, intelligent, but there's a clear underlying menace.
Dracula at
And he
social
delivers
events.
every sentence like he's kind of toying with you and knows something you don't.
that's one way to say
Alexander,
it.
is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum.
Oh.
My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery.
Yep.
In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
Now there's a voice you can trust. As for the gameplay,
Give me. I wanted to show something. Can it like? Give me a second. I fixed it. I don't know what was wrong with it, but I fixed it. Also, I wanted to show you this thing. The fucking smile is in the subtitles. Holy hell, that's great. Anyway, let us continue, and it should be fixed.
It lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
now there's a voice you can trust.
Yeah, indeed.
As for the gameplay, it's fairly straightforward. For
Yeah.
starters, it has the same kind of physics controls as the Penumbra games.
I have to say something. I really love the physics controls and stuff in the Dark Descent. I despise them a little bit in Rebirth when I played it, because you throw a plate, a ceramic plate here, it breaks, it destroys, it breaks. You throw it in Rebirth, it doesn't break anything, it doesn't do anything. That's what annoyed me the most.
You can physically pick up and throw
Yeah.
most objects. Searching a desk or wardrobe will mean physically opening each drawer.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit annoying sometimes.
And of course, you'll need to physically push and pull doors.
Mhm.
Once again, it adds some physicality to the world and unique solutions for puzzles, and will be much more difficult when the Prussian penetrators are after you.
Still,
There's also
Prussian
no combat at all
penetrators.
this round. The most you can do is throw an object to distract a
Mhm.
monster, or throw an object at one, which might make them stumble for half a second or so, but you're not killing them. Sneaking
Aw.
and peeking is the name of the game here. You find items you need, solve puzzles in your way, and try to do it all while keeping your organs on the inside. When it
But what if I want my organs on the outside? You know, give them some fresh air.
comes to the puzzles, they're even more straightforward than Penumbra's, and very little of them have moon logic. You still have an inventory for carrying tinder boxes, oil,
Oh,
health
yeah.
potions, and items you need,
Mhm.
but many puzzles don't require aspects like item combining. More than anything,
Ah,
it's a
sometimes
scavenger
they
hunt
do.
to find what you need to progress, and then you do the puzzle in the game world itself. And again, Penumbra had these too, but it now leans way more into solving the puzzle inside the environment. There's no off-putting item combining,
Ah,
and generally,
what the hell
the
is
puzzles
that?
are simple. Instead, the pressure comes from not getting caught doing all this. For example, Brennenburg has the most
Yeah.
reviled, evil storage room in Germany. For back then anyways. There is hardly any natural light to speak of. Alexander's finest are actively on the prowl, and you're looking for parts for an elevator. Having to crawl
finest.
through hostile territory and retrieve something while you're there makes for some great sequences. If you get caught and die, you're thrown back to your last save. You can save manually, but I would recommend sticking with the game's autosaves. It's pretty rational for where it triggers, and is rarely far too back to be annoying. In contrast,
yeah,
sometimes you
true.
complete a task, and instead of relief, a monster will come in to check what you've done. Amnesia sadly gets more predictable for this as it goes on. Having
Yeah,
them come
that's
through the
true.
wall or rise from a pile of debris or somehow have been in the room the whole time could have been a shakeup. But instead you hear them coming from a decent while away, have time to hide somewhere, they'll break the door down, look around, and then take off from the level.
Yeah, usually the best hiding spot is the closet. Yep.
Even a little remix would be welcome, like one coming back into the area to double check, but as is, it has you scrambling the first time or two, and then you just start expecting it. If nothing spawns in, you just move along.
Yeah.
Only being able to run and hide here does work because it's a shorter game. When you feel like the dance might be getting old, you're likely 6 or so hours into the game near the end, and not something like 12 hours in. The
Oh, yeah.
castle has enough variety, and the story is intriguing enough to keep you going. It also helps that they save their strangest visuals, developments, and areas until that final stretch.
Yeah, that's true. Also, it is a short game. I did expect it to be longer when I streamed it, from what I remember. I expected it to be longer, but no, it was surprisingly short.
So it's not more pure Scooby-Doo Castle, it begins to make you wonder again.
That's a lot of that, but I guess that was a little bit orgy going out of hand, I guess.
It's a solid, well-paced horror adventure.
Oh,
Which
hi,
brings me to
Shadow the
hard
Hedgehog.
mode. This one is extremely reliant on you knowing the game, and it can feel surprisingly different. For starters, tinderboxes. Fucking forget about them. This is a war and you're rationing. The game will barely spawn any, and there will barely be any oil for your lantern. You now use tinderboxes to save, which means knowing where the problem areas are. Now, I'm not going to say it in this
Okay.
video, but there's a fairly well-known secret to Amnesia's sanity system.
Is
Well,
that?
if you thought it wasn't doing quite enough for the game, now when it hits 0, you just drop dead. And how you can tell you're in trouble is incredibly vague below
Damn.
25%. You only know that I'm extremely mentally ill and I'm fumbling through darkness. You will scrounge for any crumb of light to stave off the madness, but not tinderboxes because that's your save.
Yeah.
You'll never truly catch me, mutant. I've already shit myself to death. I cannot stress enough how at risk you are
Okay.
this campaign. That example earlier, I had my lantern out, but something spooky happened there, so it just killed me.
Oh.
You must avert your eyes from all sin. If you hear a scary sound, you look at your feet. It's no longer a pile of disadvantages, it's game over. And because of your lack of light, it means you'll still need to crawl through near pitch black areas.
Oh.
Only pulling your lantern out for a moment or so to stop the sanity drain and see what you're doing.
Damn, that sucks.
Lacking a tell for imminent death by crazy, like a choking sound, makes the beginning especially frustrating because there's a surprising amount of areas you can die in. Areas
Oh.
that don't need any monster. But once you do start getting your strategic save points up and have to go through the game without tinderboxes or much of a lantern, it does make some sections even tenser than before with all that progress hanging in the air. It's a fun way to replay the game if you're okay with suddenly dropping dead sometimes. So that leaves the
That's
story. If
the
you don't
normal-
want spoilers, go to here.
Just suddenly dropping dead, that's the normal thing that happens. It's called heart attack. Okay, I don't mind spoilers, I already finished the
Daniel's
game.
part in everything began on an expedition in Algeria where he discovered a mysterious orb.
Ponder the orb! Time to ponder the orb! Please, we need to ponder the orb.
When he touched the orb, it completely shattered, and while he kept the pieces, he couldn't reassemble it.
You had one job, Daniel.
They seemed to shift and change on their own and never came together correctly. When he returned to London, he consulted many experts on the orb, but they didn't have much
London,
information.
yeah.
To make it worse, each he consulted would turn up horribly eviscerated a few days later.
I'm surprised that the British Museum didn't want it. You know, they like strange things and artifacts.
And he learned the same thing happened to the rest of the expedition in Algeria. What Daniel could
Oh,
find out
yeah.
was that the orbs appeared to have great power and symbolism in human history. But there was nothing concrete until, after a night of nightmares, he reassembled the orb in some kind of fugue state. He threw out lines everywhere, and his only promising response was from Alexander of Brennenburg, who said he knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah, because he's
Arriving at the
immortal.
castle, Alexander seems incredibly promising. Alexander's an educated man about these things, and many others. An uncanny amount of others. Daniel even compares him to Leonardo da Vinci, and it seems appropriate. The castle has advanced machinery for the time and even more wondrous things below. Alexander explains that the orb is supernaturally powerful, but by touching it, he's invoked the wrath of the Shadow, which is some kind of force that trails those unable to wield the orb's power, and that's what's been obliterating everyone in Daniel's path. It's slowly trailing
Technically,
behind Daniel, but will eventually catch up. To ward it off, he'll need to follow Alexander's instructions.
jump.
This would get gruesome. As a baron, part of Alexander's duties included sentencing and punishing prisoners,
Not the
which included
ball.
brutal forms of torture. Alexander assures him that these are despicable criminals, and the process is needed to ward off the Shadow. The process extracts something called vitae from its victims.
Oh yeah.
It's something like an adrenaline where the more fear and suffering a person experiences, the more can be drawn out from their blood. Alexander would even give victims amnesia potions so they wouldn't be used to the situation.
Yeah.
The man has an entire methodology of torture to pass down to Daniel. Killing them outright is no good for this process of fear extraction. And on a meta level, this note is basically a design document for the game. Show and imply what's going to happen. Avoid taking a step too massive so the whole process can be sustained. Apply the technique in small doses with room for the person to settle.
Oh.
As long as the person is suffering, it's making vitae. Only with careful performance will the victim yield maximum effect. So there's an extra fun layer to that. But even as the game goes into this process, it doesn't go full speed into gore. There are plenty of torture devices on display, descriptions of how they were used, and audio flashbacks of them in action, but the game never actually shows you anyone being tortured outside of some tasteful diagrams.
Yeah, like, at the time, I don't think they would even show that. Like, maybe, I think the Punisher was out at the time. Well,
The show doesn't slow down even when they tell you exactly what they're doing.
you know what would be great now that I think about it? I wish they would remaster it. You know, newer graphics and stuff. Please. I want it in better graphics. More spookier than ever.
Daniel keeps crossing moral lines as he tortures prisoners. He does it when it's clear their crimes aren't that dire, he does it when it's clear they're not criminals at all, and eventually he's helping Alexander's servants kidnap children in the dead of night.
Not the
So
children.
the Dark Descent is metaphorically Daniel's fall as a person, and literally you crawling through some basements and corridors trying to kill a sauerkraut. Alexander has manipulated Daniel, but why? Well, according to the strange cylinders he keeps some thoughts in, Alexander is not from this world. He's been masquerading as a line of Prussian barons for centuries. He's somehow stranded himself in our world. It's barely elaborated on where he comes from, but that adds a lot of mystique to it. He's outright frustrated having to use steam engines and not being able to access tamed lightning.
Yeah, you know, I think you learn more thanks to Rebirth, like from about the places he came from. Yeah.
He's been designing and building a machine over centuries to try and imitate something called a traveler's locket. Daniel's not even his first human help on this. Centuries before, Alexander employed the help of Heinrich Agrippa, who was an occultist at the time.
Oh yeah,
He and his student
Agrippa.
Johann Weyer were actively aware of Alexander's situation and trying to help him escape back. While details aren't clear, somehow Weyer opened a portal and made it out.
Oh, nice.
Alexander was left behind furious, and by using vitae, has kept Agrippa alive in his basement for centuries. Weyer even sends a message back saying that he can help Alexander escape, but he needs him to release Agrippa to be able to help. But because he has no guarantee of a follow-through, Alexander has refused. He'd rather slowly acquire vitae to come back through his own method. What's interesting and tragic is that Alexander doesn't come across as being pure evil. He tried to make artificial vitae but had no progress.
Yeah.
He tried to extract some from animals, but there was barely a trickle. Maybe at some point he really did only torture criminals, but that process was too slow. Whatever he is, his people consider themselves far above humans.
Technically, he was getting more and more desperate. Desperate, yes. And, you know, crazy.
So you could just say he's pragmatic, but he seems genuinely hurt and betrayed by Agrippa and Weyer's actions. And his desperation to go home is fueled by him having a loved one waiting for him. He doesn't only view people as insects, he's aware that what he's doing is terrible. With Daniel, he was partially honest in how the orb and shadow works. But he's only using the orb and Daniel to get back home. Daniel's fate is ultimately to be consumed by the shadow, and before that, Alexander has ruined who he is.
Well,
He even feels tempted to tell him the truth before he pulls it off, but also feels uncomfortable at the evil he's seen in Daniel, which he doesn't acknowledge that he's the cause for, which could be some denial and buried guilt. But he does tell Daniel, who instantly launches his plan to murder him. Daniel blames Alexander for absolutely everything because it's the only way he can cope with what he's done. And beyond homesickness, Alexander did feel a time constraint to intensify his methods. The real warding can only do so much, and if he wants to use the orb, the shadow will be a problem. He has his servants reinforcing the castle to prepare for its spread. And on the human end, he realizes the jig is up, and the rest of the Prussian council realize he's some kind of freak immortal. It's only a matter of time until they actively come after him. The shadow is on his doorstep ripping his servants apart. It's all gone to hell. It feels like there could have been some other way for things to not turn out so horribly. But everything was set in motion long ago, and you're just there to end it.
Tell me,
that's true.
Is everything nice and clear now? Am I the villain?
The end of the game gives you three options. You can let Alexander go home and be consumed by the shadow.
That's...
Your sacrifice won't be forgotten. You will be celebrated forever.
You can ruin his ritual, and for trying to use the orb's power, the shadow will consume Alexander. It will spare Daniel for this trade-off, who considers himself redeemed.
Yeah.
I gave them that awful man. I did the right thing.
You know, honestly, he should have taken the amnesia potion again after
Or
that.
go with the plan that Wire offered to Alexander and send Agrippa through the portal. It appears like everything collapses and the shadow consumes you both, but there is some hope at the end.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Daniel. It will be all right.
It is nice to have multiple endings this round. Because
Out of-
letting Alexander go and making everything he did in the entire game pointless is the bad ending. There is enough to him that someone might sympathize with his cause, even if he is a fucked up torture vampire.
But at the end, only one of them is technically canon, if you think about it, because of amnesia machine for the pigs, I think. Because I think the protagonist is like descendant or something like that of Daniel.
Daniel's escape is considered the good ending,
Yeah.
but it almost comes across to me as too good to be true. He
I
delivers his
think.
lines more like he's trying to convince himself that everything's alright now. It is a bright light, but an uncertain future. And the uncertain future Agrippa offers does seem more interesting.
Yeah.
Also because, again, I'm not sure how Daniel ever returns to normal after all he's done. All the endings make you linger a bit about all that happened to get there, and I can't ask for much more than that. But they did give more with Amnesia Justine. This was a free
Justine?
update for the base game. Once again, you're playing as someone waking up from amnesia, this time being tested by a woman named Justine across various phonographs.
How did I never heard of this?
The best way I can describe it is, it's like a cross between Much Ado About Nothing and Saw.
Oh,
How
okay.
you solve puzzles will decide the fate of 3 individuals. And you can replay it for different endings, which is fine since it's barely a half hour. It's
Okay.
a short but interesting story about a family's dynamics and dealing with loss.
Oh.
But it also has an incredibly strange time capsule.
Woman.
If you remember, Penumbra was not shy about its Half-Life influence. In Justine, you can find a fancy new projector with a note that came in it with shipping. From AS Inc. in Boston, Massachusetts. After you've been running through tests with a disembodied female voice telling you what to do, this add-on was made to promote Portal 2.
Urgent, is it? Not really. It's already years late. I just thought they should know. I'm still alive.
GLaDOS.
Alright then. So that was Amnesia
see.
The Dark Descent, and it still holds up. While I do miss how Penumbra had and then removed combat for some interesting effects, Amnesia is
I
still
never-
great at what it set out to do.
Never
It
played
started
Penumbra.
an entire wave of horror games with no combat. A lot of them fell on their face, which does kind of put this game in the same category as Halo, where a game really nailed what it was setting out to do, but because of all the imitators, the base game itself can get a bad reputation in some circles.
Oh, yeah.
This one exploded into popularity for good reason. It's extremely coherent and well-paced. It's atmospheric and has a good story and great delivery. It's a great game for an evening, and it should only be about $3 for the next while in the pinned comment
Oh.
if the goblins get back to me in time. I hope you've enjoyed this Nightmare Before Christmas. There is plenty to come in the new year. and
Oh,
I'll
what's
see you
that
then.
game? That looks interesting. But yeah, definitely great video by MandaloreGaming.
Did I watch the Game Awards? Yeah, it was
Oh.
like watching... That's where I would insert an ad break because too many ads. It's shitty to have so many rapid-fire awards, not let Neil Newman finish his speech or delirium
Oh, let's
people.
listen to him.
Just kind of shameful. It felt like groveling to Hollywood over celebrating games.
Oh, yeah.
Did I play the new Armored Core? Yes, and I clicked many missiles. But outside of two
Nerf.
fights, it felt like maybe the easiest Armored Core game I've played.
I don't
It
know
could be
which
the
one
older
it
ones
was.
rolled me over when I was younger, but I'd have to go and play again. Have I been surprised in a game to the point I broke something? Yeah, I leaned back in my chair, or like I twisted it hard, and the cable, the 3.5 jack to the headphone to the computer
Oh,
completely broke off.
that sucks.
And I was either playing AVP2 or AVP Classic, and Alien
Oh,
just
Alien-
jumped to the screen
Alien
and
versus
scared the shit
Predator.
out of me.
See.
It wasn't this big set-piece moment or anything. I just got surprised, and my headphones got owned.
That
But
sucks.
that was a few years back, and I've never thrown a controller in my life.
I did.
Not that I haven't felt compelled. I just baked it in that I would not be able to afford to replace a controller. And that never went away. Also, I have done a bit of Amnesia modding, and it's fun.
Never. What? Okay, yeah, that was a really great video by MandaloreGaming. Wish he would say a little bit about the custom maps, but hey, indeed great video by him. You should definitely go check him out yourself. I recommend that. Yes, yes, yes. But yeah, if you enjoyed my bad reaction, as well, I always call my reactions bad. But yeah, if you enjoyed my reaction, consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and telling me what I should react to next. And if you didn't like it, call me stinky and give me the dislike, as you always do. Just, you know, call me stinky. At least, or tell me anything that I could, you know, improve on. After all, I'm still trying to learn how to, you know, do this more properly. But yeah, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.